everybody. There have been a lot of talk lately about synth pop and new wave, especially on the live streams, where many have talked to me about new wave and synth pop from the 80s, and I thought it was a good idea actually then to do the same thing that I actually did with the jazz collection on vinyl. Show my entire collection of new wave and synth pop from 80s, and some are also from the beginning of the 90s also. So the CDs I'll take for another day, but here are my vinyl collection of synth pop and new wave from the 80s and in some cases early 90s. And I'm going to start it all from backwards and go to A. How strange it may sound like, but it's sorted up that way. So starting here with Y, which is jazz, or as we say here in Sweden, jazzoo. I don't have all that much jazzoo stuff. There have never been any of my biggest synth pop favorites, even though they have, of course, a lot of great stuff. I always have a little hard time with Alison Moyet's voice, but as I said, it's Vince Clarke, and with that, of course, I've got to have it. So this is Upstairs at Eric. Visage. We have singles collection. We have the Anvil. The more famous debut I have on CD. Ultravox. Rage in Eden, Lament. We have Quartet, and here is a collection which actually was the first Ultravox album that I ever bought back in 1995, I think. Tears for Fears, Seeds of Love. Maybe not the most synth pop thing they have done, but Tears for Fears in its original are, of course, more connected with the synth pop, so I put it there. The Hurting, their debut, Songs from the Big Chair, Talk Talk, The Color of Spring, Spirit of Eden, It's My Life, The Party's Over, The Very Best Of. And we have some Spandau Ballet. Going to come back to them later when I'm going through the synth pop and new wave albums that I have yet to listen to. This is Through the Barricades. Once again, not the most synth pop-esque stuff that they have done, but it is Spandau Ballet, and Spandau Ballet itself are more connected to synth pop. And then we have Journeys to Glory. We have a Parade, and then we go to Soft Cell, a non-stop erotic cabaret, and we have Bill Sharp, who was in Shack Attack, if I'm not wrong, but he did a very, very great and interesting synth pop song with Gary Newman. Called Change Your Mind, and this is a great album called Famous People. Reflex, Politics of Dancing, contest prize actually from Jenny B-sides. Real Life, Heartland, and Real Life, the follow-up to that, Flame. A classic, a real classic, Propaganda's A Secret Wish, released on Trevor Horn's label, and amazing German new wave synth pop. And we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, which was the Return album in 1990. Not that much synth pop, but a really great one nonetheless, an underrated album actually. Of course, Betsy Miller, the vocalist here, doesn't have the same voice as Claudia Brücken in the original, but I think it's underrated. Now, Pet Shop Boys, Behavior, actually in a bonus double pack because this also contains a 12-inch of Always on My Mind. Pet Shop Boys Please, Pet Shop Boys Disco, Introspective, and we have the bootlegs that I've showed numerous times, Heaven and Birmingham 91. Person to Person, oops, is a very much forgotten band today. It was created by a member of ABC, actually, the drummer, and it never reached any heights, but it's actually very underrated. This is a great album. Here we have New Order, Lowlife. We have Substance, 87, and I'm missing a lot of New Order here actually, but some more I have on the CD. Dazzle Ships, OMD. Sugar Tax, OMD, their self-titled debut. Organization, Orchestral Architecture and Morality. And we have New Music, Anywhere, and Sanctuary. Oops. And Sanctuary is an American release, actually, American compilation. More new music from A to B. We have Naked Eyes, Fuel for the Fire, and Burning Bridges. Here we have Mobiles, a sadly forgotten band today. Great one. This album is a little bit in the same style as Ultravox. They made very few albums, and they actually wasn't all that big. But Drowning in Berlin was actually their biggest hit. Here we have the Lotus Eaters, No Sense of Sin. The Corgis, Dumb Waiters, an album that proves that the Corgis is actually far more than just the great Everybody's Gonna Learn Sometime. This is a really underrated and great album. Con Can, Move to Move. One of the few synth-pop albums here that isn't actually from the golden years of new wave, the early 80s, but this is from the later part of 80s. Kitaro, Japanese synthesizer player, maybe could be more suited in some kind of an ambient genre, but since I don't have it and I have no intent to actually get it, I keep it in synth-pop, as it is synthesizer music but more relaxing style. But this is actually really great, really well made. So this is Silk Road, and this is Silver Cloud. We have Mick Karn and a solo album. We have Kaja Go Go Extra, or Kaja as they are called here. I actually think that Kaja Go Go after during the end actually wasn't as bad as many say. I think it's very underrated. This one, Crazy People's Right to Speak, is actually a very underrated album. So Kaja or Kaja Go Go, doesn't matter to me. This is actually really good. But of course, Islands and White Feather, of course. Howard Jones, Dream into Action, Cross That Line, 1 to 1, and we have the 12th album, the remix album, The Humans Lib, and Action Replay, which is a remix album from Dream into Action. Jean-Michel Jarre also could fit in an ambient genre, but along with Kitaro, but I'll put them here anyway. Zolok. Japan, really great band. Tin Drum and Gentleman Takes Polaroids. These two are highly recommended. Industry, Stranger to Stranger, consisting their big hit, State of the Nation. We have French and the Shin, another one of my favorites. And this is number 3, trois. L'Aventière. And we have Le Péril Faune. My French isn't all that good. This contains, of course, their big hit Cowbong. We have, of course, Ice House, Man of Colors. We have their self-titled. We have Fresco, which is an EP from 1982. We have Sidewalk from 1984. Measure for Measure. And we have Primitive Man, the one that actually contains Hey Little Girl. Coming to Human League, Dare, an album that took me almost 2 decades actually to realize that, hey, this is actually awesome. Romantic from 1990, and we have Hysteria, and we have Greatest Hits. I nowhere complete of Human League. I have a lot of the more modern Human League's album that I haven't had yet. Rupert Hine, Waving Not Drowning, sadly passed away this past summer. A real classic, according to me, Immunity. I Hang On to My Vertigo. What an amazing song that is. Wildest Wish to Fly, Rupert Hine. John Fox, The Garden. Here's an artist that I hope to find more of. Heaven 17, Luxury Gap. Also another band that it took me a while actually to realize that they are actually really good. I had a hard time because because they actually have a little bit more experimental than many of the other new wave bands. But I realized as I grew up that this is actually really great. But still, my absolute favorite is this one, How Men Are. This is maybe their most normal commercial album, but still it is an amazing album. The Luxury Gap then, and Penthouse and Payments. Fiction Factory, also a very sadly forgotten 80s band. Feels Like Heaven is one of the best new wave songs ever. Throw the Warp Wheel Out is definitely a sadly forgotten album that it's amazing that it actually didn't reach the same heights as many other in the same style during that time, but I think actually it drowned very much. And it is a second album also by Fiction Factory that I one of these days hope to find. That failed miserably, of course. Erasure, Wild. Most of my Erasures are on CD. Some also even on cassette. This is one of the few that I have on vinyl actually. Thomas Dolby, Wireless. Duran Duran collection, Notorious. Arena, Liberty, the worst one. I'm not sure. There's a Culling coming up. I'm not sure whether I will keep this or not until then. We'll keep this or not after that. Because it's definitely Duran Duran's one of the worst of their albums. However, we still I still haven't found the one where they actually is collaborating with Justin Timberlake and Timbaland and so on, which I also fear to buy actually. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have my goal as to have a complete Duran Duran or not, because they haven't been doing the best of albums after the 80s. Rag 7 and the Ragged Tiger, and my favorite, of course, Rio. We have their self-titled debut, and of course Depeche Mode. Music for the Masses, Some Great Reward, Black Celebration, Construction Time Again, Speak and Spell, the debut, Broken Frame, and among that I can also put in Violator, that I do have in another special place, as this is one of the best albums ever, and I have the best albums ever in my survival box. You've seen that brown one that I showed numerous times. So, but of course I wanted to show it among in the collection also. So, but I have a special video for those of you who wants to see a complete video of my my complete Depeche Mode albums, album collection that I did many years ago. So look that up. And then I of course then have a lot of on CD also. Classics Nouveau, a band that I have discovered just recently. I wasn't all that interested in their music before, but I realized that it actually is really good. La Varité, China Crisis, working with Fire and Steel, really masterpiece. As is this one, Flaunt the Imperfection, but this is perfection. Difficult Shapes and Positive Rhythm. Coming to one of the few Canadian synth-pop bands, Boys Brigade, that never became big, actually. I think this is the only album that they did, actually. David Bowie, I have put his 80s collection in New Wave synth-pop, because when it comes to David Bowie in the 80s, it fitted better in there, because it was very much New Wave synth-pop over David Bowie in the 80s. This is Best of the 7 Months in America, live album on vinyl, reissue, live radio broadcast, it says here. Never Let Me Down, an according to me very underrated David Bowie album that isn't seen as isn't seen high among the David Bowie collectors, but I think it's definitely is far better than its reputation. Of course, Let's Dance, and of course, Scary Monsters, and of course, more David Bowie in the 70s and the 60s. Blancmange, British band, sadly underrated, that never made it big here in Sweden, so their album isn't all that easy to find, but I managed to find 3 of them. This is my favorite, Mange Tout. We have Happy Families, and we have Believe You Me. Berlin, More Than Just Take My Breath Away. They were amazing in the before that, in the early career. A great synth pop band back then, even though Count to 3 and Pray, that Take My Breath Away is on, is also a great album. But this is Pleasure Victim, an amazing album. This is also a great one, Low Life. Beacon, Escapements. This is a VCLT that I got from Baraka P Dub a couple of years ago. Arcadia, So Red the Rose. Arcadia, of course, it was a side project from Duran Duran, and contains 3 members of Duran Duran with Simon Le Bon singing. This is a really great album. Altered Images, also a band I discovered pretty late. Alphaville, of course, Forever Young. This one is also a little wrong place. It's going to be in my box for the best albums ever. Uh, Afternoons in Utopia and Breathtaking Blue. The three first. Also with Alphaville, I have far to go when it comes to complete. I unfortunately only have in original form these three first. Tenement Symphony, Mark Almond. This is my absolute favorite Mark Almond album. When it comes to Mark Almond after Soft Cell, it was a little up, a little down. The Stars We Are, I think, wasn't all. It was a very uneven album, but this containing Jackie and The Days of Pearly Spencer was a really great album, amazing produced. Flock of Seagulls, of course, this is Dream Come True. We have their this one, self-titled, and we have Listen. Coming to ABC, How to Be a Zillionaire, and naturally, The Lexicon of Love. And as I've said, the day have only 24 hours, and I have a lot to listen to, of course, so there are a lot of albums that I haven't been able to listen to yet. Although I don't think that isn't all that big, actually. I think the jazz part that I have yet to listen to is far more bigger. So of course this one is very much smaller than the one I have listened to. I'm glad for that. Starting with some more ABC. This is Up, and this is Beauty Stab. More classic Nouveau, Night People. German group Camouflage, and the only album I have, Voices and Images. China Crisis, The Diary of a Hollow Horse. Very late China Crisis, this is from 1989. Very much past their prime, but interesting anyway. Patrick Cowley, who was a synthesizer producer that have pretty much a cult status today. Megatron Man. Fad Gadget, while we add synth-pop guys that have a bit of a cult status today. Human League Travelogue. Human League Fascination. And we have Reproduction. Human League Limited Orchestra with Love and Dancing, which pretty much is an instrumental album with songs from their album. More Jean-Michel Jarre, Waiting for Cousteau from 91, and a concert, Houston, Lyon. We have Mark and the Mambas. This is a little odder release of Mark Almond. So this is called Untitled, this album. So a little bit experimental if you compare to Soft Cell and Mark Almond's own songs. Soft Cell, The Art of Falling Apart. We have 89 Spandau Ballet, Heart Like Sky. The Twins, very special group actually. Until the End of Time. Yazoo, You and Me Both. Ultravox, Monument, the soundtrack, which I'm very happy to have. This is from 1983 and it's live, and it is the soundtrack for the concert movie Monument that I have on VHS. A really great concert. With only one problem, it's very short, it's only 30 minutes long. But very great to have the soundtrack from that concert film. Midge Your Solo, not that much synth pop actually. This is answers to nothing. But synth pop meets your overall is I see connected to synth pop maybe, but I haven't made up my mind. Maybe I move this one to regular 80s pop. Original Mirrors, hard twango and raw beat. Original Mirrors, very a little bit forgotten band today, containing Ian Brody, who today is more known as Lightning Seeds. This is a band that he had before that. But this is a great one, really, really great one. High C Fantasy, album that I showed pretty recently in the vinyl CD update. Bruce Woolley and the Camera Club, Easy English Garden. And Bruce Woolley is, of course, one who once was in Buggles and made some really great songs of his own. Also containing on keyboards Thomas Dolby. Landscape. This is from the Tea Rooms of Mars. And we have Manhattan Boogie Woogie, which is the one that contains... no, it's not. It's a follow-up to the other one. I think it is this one that contains Einsteiner Go-Go. Feel OK from Human League together with Giorgio Moroder. We have Little Heroes, yet another very much forgotten band today, Play by Numbers. Space from France, the very best of Space. Planet P. Also another forgotten project today. This is Only You and Me, a really, really great song. New Music and Warp. Propaganda is this, and this is actually a kind of a remix album for their Secret Wish album. But really, really odd thing to have. And another Altered Images, Happy Birthday. So, 80s synth pop. I just love it, as you can tell. And I want to find more. And I think it may be most fun to find these little obscure bands that I actually never heard of and that turn out to be really great. Like Original Mirrors here. Or The Little Heroes also. Band I never heard of before. Normally I don't do that much blind buys of full-length vinyl, but sometimes if it looks like very, very interesting, like it did with these two, I can do it and the price is right. I hope that you have enjoyed my little walkthrough synth pop on vinyl. So until next time, take care everybody, and so long.